Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Nordpool data webinar. Really appreciate that you join us on this sunny morning. We know your time is precious, but hopefully we have a really good presentation for you today, which we'll look forward to presenting. We have a really good attendance today with a mixed user group from traders, software vendors, and solution providers. So yeah, really good, nice mix of attendees. So today I will host the webinar and we will present some updates on the Nordpool data services. We've introduced some new licenses as well as you've probably seen the cooperation with Clean Horizon, or hopefully seen the cooperation with Clean Horizon. So we have a BESS index that we're really excited about that is now live on our website. So we're delighted to be joined by Clean Horizon as well to get a subject matter view on the index and the products and a view of the BESS landscape. So excited for that. Before I go into the presentation, quick introductions from each of us. So my name is Moger. I'm a data sales manager. I've been with the exchange at Nordpool for 3 years, and I'm joined by my colleague Tianze Jackey.
Hi, my name is Jackey, and I'm the sales associate in Nordpool. I mainly work with Christian in the Power Data Service team. Thanks.
And Corentin from Clean Horizon.
Yes, good morning, everyone. My name is Corentin. I'm a partner at Clean Horizon. I've been in the company for the past 10 years, and Clean Horizon is very simple. We're a consulting company dedicated to storage, focused on Europe.
Super. Thank you very much, Corentin. So moving on, appreciate some people attending this, maybe not from a trading background and don't know too much about the power exchange, just taking our data. So just for context, Nordpool is actually the first power exchange in the world. So I've been operating since the 1990s, the first multinational power exchange. So those of you familiar with the market coupling initiative, actually this started in the Nordics, driven by Nordpool. So very proud that fact, and expanded, of course, then to trilateral coupling, Netherlands, Belgium, and France, and then further out in the CWE region. So it's been a real success story for the spot markets. Nordpool's ownership is actually 66% Euronext, that's the stock exchange. And it's been fantastic having Euronext as our parent company. Seeing a real commitment from them, especially with the launch of the derivatives futures markets for the Nordic area, which went live this year, and also took on board integrated the NASDAQ open interest as well. So that's been a real success story, and probably can see some expansion on that market as well. I've also seen Euronext purchase the Hellenex, the Greek exchange, which also has an ownership on the NX, the Greek energy exchange as well, so 40% ownership of that. So really, Euronext very much invested in the energy markets, and we see that continued with investments within the Nordpool trading and data services as well. Nordpool as a company, we do provide several services. Our core business, of course, is the trading, but we also have academy courses. So if you're a new data client and you're not familiar with the European power markets, I do recommend having a look at the academy courses, and myself and Jackey would be happy to help you with details on that. Obviously, we're heavily involved with the TSO services for technical operations, transmission system operations, obviously closely aligned with the operation of the spot power markets and the trading side. Consulting as well, so we have a really important consulting business that provides expertise in running exchanges, running market design, etc. So we're doing a lot of work with countries developing their markets within power trading. Today, I'm going to be focused on the data side. So this is a one-stop shop for electricity market data. And yeah, this slide is going to give some background onto some of the so we have 400 companies trading with Nordpool over 20 countries, and you can see the countries here. But rather than this slide, maybe it's better if I show you quickly what that actually means in terms of trading. So this is the core, this is our core business effectively. This is the beating heart of the exchange. So this is our intraday continuously traded market. It's trading 24/7, 7 days a week. So it's a machine. It never turns off, and it's always activity. This is a real-time view, so this is our UI, but as you can see from the level of activity, most of the trading is not done by a human. It's mostly done by API with automated trading algorithms. So you can see best bid and offer for France, for example. You can see there's what the available capacity is between Belgium and France and vice versa. So this is covering all this is just an example of the French, Dutch, Belgium and German markets, but obviously we have the other 15 or 16. You see the market depth, for example, as well as volume weighted average prices. We have the volume weighted average weighted prices for 1 hour and 3 hour. So hopefully for those of you that have a trading background, this gives you a nice feel of what the market looks like. And why is it important? Well, this is really the source of our data. This is the price formation process. So this is really important to understand sort of the background as to how we develop these prices and operate the market. So this is the intraday, and obviously the other core part is the day ahead market, which is an auction. So hopefully that gives you a nice feel for the non-trading participants, how the market looks. And just actually, while I remember that so I showed you the user interface, we did launch this year a read-only API, which is exactly directly reflecting the market activity that I just showed you. So that is available with 24 hours of history. So all of that market data, best bids and offers, the full order book, and all the available orders that are available for matching in that market area. All of that is available via live API, which we launched last year. So in terms of our data customers, we are seeing huge growth in the business. It's developing exponentially. Obviously, Europe is our core business. Most clients located in the Nordic and Baltics. Big presence in the US, but also seeing big growth from China in particular. So a lot of software vendors, solution providers for the HEMS, EV, that type of solution user case. Really, a lot of Chinese providers providing solution for that type of asset optimization types of solutions. So it's been really interesting to see how that's developed. For the market data offering at Nordpool, we have 2 core platforms. One is a web-based platform called Data Portal, 2-factor authentication to access it. It provides all of our market data on the platform, except for the order book details from the intraday market. But apart from that, you can access all the country market data for trades, as well as the operational market data as well. So that's a really useful platform to have. And the other solution is our API solution for automated machine readable user cases. So the data portal, as I just mentioned, that requires client subscription directly with Nordpool. The data goes back to 1999. We have the TSO production and consumption balancing market data, as well as all the currencies and production forecasts. The key thing about this solution is that it's mostly used internally for internal research and analysis, that type of thing. So a really handy tool for analytics. As I mentioned, it's not for machine readable user cases. We would recommend the API. You can get these types of visualization reports also in the data portal, and I'll show a little bit more on that as I go through the presentation later on. So I mentioned also that we launched at the end of last year, or towards the end of last year, the read-only version of the Trade API. This has been in response to a lot of demand, particularly from ISV vendors who'd like to have access to a read-only version of the trading platform that I just showed you for the continuous trading. So that is available for ISVs and also for trading companies that maybe, for example, want to access. So you're currently trading on Germany, you're thinking about trading intraday in France or Belgium, and it's a great way of getting access to the real-time data and doing some backtesting, modeling, etc. So this is now available. We do also provide then a 20-minute delayed API in conjunction with the real-time trade API, and the key benefit with the delayed API is that it contains all of our market history for that particular market. So you'll see the order book history, orders, trade history, etc. So compared to, let's say, some of our competitors who normally charge per annum or per blocks of historical data, actually, if you subscribe to the delayed API, you'll be able to access all of the history for that particular market. So that'll be trades, order book, orders, and trades. Also seen in response to those clients that need just a view-only solution, then we provide a redistribution license. So we launched in January the 1st a view-only redistribution license, which allows then for those users to redistribute our data, let's say for a web-based application, web platform, or an app application. That allows to view the data, our market data on a screen, but doesn't allow for extraction of the market data. So yeah, typical user cases might be, for example, an electricity retailer who's providing our prices to their end clients, and they're just showing the day-ahead price, for example, on an invoice, that type of thing. Or it could be for EV charging, home energy management solutions, etc., where the end client, the household, can see that the price, the wholesale price, in an app to see how efficiently they're charging their car, or efficiently they're using their central heating, etc. Then it's another new license that we launched this year, which is non-display redistribution license. So this is in response to many solution providers that are using price-driven asset optimization software on behalf of third parties. So they don't want to be able to display the data, but the price data is just going into an algorithm that optimizes an asset. For example, again, for transportation, for EV charging, for industrial use, switching on a plant at the most efficient times. So we produced this non-display redistribution license to make it more cost-effective compared to, say, a full redistribution license, for example. And then full redistribution is a typical user case for a large software vendor who provides a desktop application, and they want their users to be able to download and extract the data with many multiple users on their client side. So typically these could be companies like Bloomberg and Refinitiv, these types of businesses. I'd like to talk a little bit about the partnership that we have with Clean Horizon. So delighted to be working in cooperation with Clean Horizon and being the redistributor, if you like, of their storage index, which has 1 hour, 2 hour, and 4 hour cycles. So we're providing this on our platform, so on our website, and then via our APIs. which has seen a huge amount of interest, obviously, with the development of the BESS industry, which Corentin will be able to talk about a lot more detail than I can. But I thought it'd be good to just show you how to access the index before Corentin talks about the details behind the methodology and that type of thing. So if maybe it's better if I share my screen here. So this is looking at the Nordpool data portal, and you can see the publication of the BESS index. So we're looking at Germany here. We're looking at the 1 hour, 2 hour and 4 hour cycles. So this is published for free. We can send details after the call, or please contact me and Jackey for the link. We're happy to provide that. But then you can see these are published on monthly granularities, in this case going back to January 2023 to May 2026 with the total price for the months of the revenue stack. So for each, for Germany, for example, we're seeing the day ahead, the revenue stack is made of the day ahead, the FCR, AFRR capacity reservations, and etc. So for each country, you can see the different inputs into the value stack. So this is the publication. It's a monthly publication. To see the daily granularity is then a premium service, so that it's possible to access then the daily revenue stacks. And this is provided by the Nordpool API. So within our JSON API, you can see here we have the Clean Horizon storage, premium storage index. And here we have an example that I set up previously. So it's very simple using get quotes. So here with the German market for the 1st of March, hit execute. Then you'll have a download then of the daily revenue stack. So you can download that. Have a really nice file then that you can automate the whole process into your analytical platforms. And just to show you, we created ourselves at Nordpool a little dashboard just to give a bit of a visualization of how that data may look in a nice user-friendly format. So this example is looking at Finland with some data analytics and analysis for particular days where here, for example, day ahead is the main contributing revenue for this particular day. 2 hour and 4 hour cycles. So that is my quick introduction and overview of the new services that we've launched. I'm going to hand over now to Corentin, who can then talk in more detail about the BESS industry and the index that they're providing.
Next question before we move into Clean Horizon part, and just if you have any question, we'll have a Q&A section at the end of this presentation. So if you have any question, you can just ask in the Q&A box.
Super. Thanks, Jackey.
Thanks so much.
Good point. Yeah. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah.
Great. So there's actually a question regarding, I just made it public, whether this partnership also works for looking forward data. Now with Nordpool, we really focused on looking at the historical revenues for batteries. So that's something we can discuss separately with Clean Horizon, but not doing this together with Nordpool. Right. So thanks everyone. I'll talk a bit more focused on storage. So you're probably aware that batteries have been largely battery deployment have been booming across Europe. We have reached the capacity worldwide where there's more battery storage capacity installed than pumped hydro, to give an order of magnitude. So we're talking about 27 gigawatt hour of capacity installed in 2025, and in EU that's 77 gigawatt hours. So That's a big increase. What's driving this is obviously lithium-ion prices and market needs, meaning the markets need flexibility. And flexibility revenues have proven in the past to be high. That's something you can look up for free first with the index. Order of magnitude, currently with current battery storage capex, you need for a 2-hour battery probably around 120,000 euro per megawatt per year of gross revenue to have a business case over 15 years, assuming 1.5 cycles per day. So the free index is 1 hour, 2 hour, and 4 hour. That's the discharge duration, and the cycling is the same. The cycling assumption is the same for the free index, which is 1.5 cycles per day. Right. So in line with this big increase in battery storage deployment, we had a lot of requests from clients to track how their asset was operating and to track how the optimizer was performing when optimizing the battery storage system on the different markets. As you may know, batteries are very volatile. They can operate on ancillary services, they can operate on day ahead, they can operate on intraday. They can operate even simultaneously on different markets in certain configuration to manage the state of charge. So navigating the revenue stack of batteries is inherently complex. And what we try and do with this index is reflect with imperfect foresight how much a battery storage system can earn. Maybe Christian, if you go to the next slide. Yeah, so thanks. That's an example of the revenue stack of a battery storage system, so that you can access via Nordpool on the daily, right? So the daily revenue stack, and that's an example we've taken from France. And you can see that every day is very different. Here's an example. There's you can see that the color of the stack changes starting from July. Well, that's the monthly, sorry. That's the monthly index. So you can see that in July, the green has disappeared and that was trading. It has been replaced by AFR, because turns out that in France, during the summer 2024, the TSO RT opened a new ancillary service. Well, actually, the ancillary service already existed, but it was not a market, which name is AFR. So that's secondary reserve. It's the name of automatic frequency restoration reserve, and batteries do participate in this service, and they actually compete very well with conventional power plants that are expensive to provide the service. I told you an order of magnitude that battery needs probably 120,000 euro per megawatt per year to break even over 15 years. You can see that the revenues that we have here would probably provide 1 year payback for battery storage system. We're at 300 in average, maybe 2 years payback, depending on exact project capex, but let's say less than 2 years payback for battery storage system, assuming the battery storage system was installed and had with a 2-hour discharge duration on summer 2024. So that shows you the revenue stacked and how it changed, and it's always assuming cross-market operation. So some optimizers may not have access to all markets. The index we've built here is a reference, so it's on a typical battery. So we have, for instance, a number of technical assumptions like a round-trip efficiency of 85%. I mentioned 1.5 cycles per day as a maximum, etc. And it shows and it's also a battery that's connected to a transmission system operator. So with one grid fee structure that is given, and it shows what the revenue stack would look like. Right. If we go to this following slide, we'll just show a bit differently, but that these revenue stacks vary a lot from a country to another. Many could think it's Europe, the revenues are probably very, very close in a country to another. Turns out it's not the case. Turns out each country has very different flexibility revenue. It's something you may have seen when Christian was showing his screen earlier with Germany, and he clicked another country, that the revenue stack is very different from a country to another and changes a lot from a month or a day to another. So this revenue stack depends on the electricity mix, the demand, the cost of gas, the cost of the ton of CO2, the demand, the installed battery capacity. Obviously, the revenues used to be high, but they will decrease because batteries compete one with the other. So there is cannibalization, just like there is cannibalization with solar, and the capture price is reducing. Well, same case for batteries. Batteries are pushing out of the merit order the most expensive asset and reducing the cost of flexibility for the grids. That's good news because we're making grid life easier, but it's also a perspective of reducing revenues. There's obviously weather parameters, etc. So here we're showing 3 months in a couple of countries, but of course, feel free to go either on Nordpool website or on Clean Horizon website. We also have the free app, but the Nordpool website also is the one you should go to if you want to buy the daily data. Thanks, Christian. If we move forward, there's three things three reasons for us to build this benchmark. The first one is when you talk with optimizers, it's difficult to gauge, and when they give you your revenue performance, it's difficult to gauge how they performed. Christian was showing his screen with the intraday trades. You can see there's probably trades every milliseconds there, probably even shorter, I can't tell. So when your trader gives you the historical trades of your battery storage system, it can very fast be a nightmare to benchmark whether your optimizer did a good job or not, because there's so many transactions, so many markets. The continuous market is only one of the markets. There's also the continuous auctions, and there's the intraday auction, the day-ahead auction, and all the ancillary services. Ancillary services typically have two revenue structure: one for reservation, which means your capacity needs to be booked for a given time slot, and one for activation. Reservation is in euro per megawatt. It does not depend on how much the grid calls you for reserve, and activation depends on for how long it calls you. So if you're called a lot, you get more activation revenue, and in any case, you get the capacity revenue, the reservation revenue. So there's across Europe at least 3 ancillary services: FCR, AFR, and MFR, to contain the frequency. And so that's for each. Some of these products are symmetric, like FCR. Some are asymmetric, like AFR, meaning there's a price for AFR upwards and a price for AFR downwards. Of course, batteries can provide AFR up and down, and they can be reserved up and down and aggregated up and down. So that's 4 revenue lines for batteries on AFR, same for MFR, and only a reservation revenue on FCR, plus the intraday and day-ahead revenue. So it's complex, and the idea of the index is to provide a simple benchmark for owners or optimizers to track their performance. Really make sure the trader performs as expected. And the third one is to hedge opportunities. The idea is that with such a track record, some people can use it to settle swaps or forwards contracts and to hedge against volatility. So that's why the index is set up for. FYI, we can also build what we call a tailored index, which fits to your project, because that's a generic one, because there's one data for one zone or one country. We can also, if relevant, make a tailored index that fits your battery capacity exactly, because it's probably not exactly 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour. Right. Thanks, Christian. If we move ahead again, and so the idea here is to show you how we try and approach optimizer performance. If you look at the top right of this slide, you can see three bars. The one on the left is the top to bottom, the head spread. So it's the maximum price minus the minimum price. The green one is our index, and the yellow one is the optimizer performance. So our idea is to get as close as possible to the optimizer performance and be a bit lower than the optimizer performance, because our tool is using imperfect foresight, as all optimizers obviously don't have perfect foresight. And it's also a bit it's built to be a bit conservative on the revenue case. And here you're seeing it's always displaying annualized revenues in 1,000 euro per megawatt per year. So if you want to, here it's a month. So for instance, in May, assuming all the year was the same revenues as May, you could have made, based on our index, 200,000 euro per megawatt per year. So if you want the monthly revenue, you just need to divide it by 12. And when you look below, it's the daily revenue stack that is distributed by Nordpool. And if you want the daily revenue, you just have to divide the number by 365, number of days within the year, to get the daily revenue. So we just kept the unit the same, because we believe it's quite helpful to keep the same unit across different marks. And the idea in the premium version is that on top of the total revenue, you have the split between the markets. So you can benchmark your optimizer and ask, hey, how come you did so much FCR on the 13th? The index says you should have done more AFR or more intraday, and helps you understand the difference and benchmark their performance. If we go to the next slide, we'll see these two differences between the free of charge storage index and the premium index. So in both cases, there's free discharge duration, 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour. In both cases, we have the same technical assumption, which is a standalone battery connected to a transmission network, which is important for the grid fee structure, by the way. If you're connected to DSO, you have a different grid fee structure, which will impact the revenue stack, because the optimizer makes decision based on the cost of charging and discharging, taking into account those grid fees. We both index are published on the 15th of the month. Actually, it's the same index. It's just the granularity that changes. You can see on the left-hand side, it's monthly aggregated revenues. And on the right-hand side, it's daily revenues, split by components of the revenue stack. So day ahead, intraday, FCR, FR, MFR, etc. In both cases, you have access to historical data since 1st January 23. And on the left-hand side, it's free. And on the right-hand side, there's the two licenses Christian showed earlier, and the API Nordpool is offering. Right, moving on. That's the countries that are currently covered in the index in black. So bear in mind that Sweden is split in 4 zones, that Italy is split in 6 zones, if I'm not mistaken. So there's an index per zone in Sweden and Italy, obviously, because the prices change from a zone to another. The other countries have one price per zone, so there's one index per zone. We're adding this year to our index, and that's going to happen over the summer, Great Britain, Netherlands, and Bulgaria, which are here in blue. So that means we'll increase again our reach to cover more than 15 countries in the next couple of months to track battery storage revenues. Moving ahead, and maybe leaving a bit of time for question, and just to wrap it up, the reason we've built the index for is to provide better transparency on the market, help optimizers, help asset owners understanding the revenue of their battery storage system and how they perform compared to a benchmark. So we've built a neutral and consistent and standard index with a common methodology across the 15 European countries. This methodology is using imperfect foresight, which makes it a realistic revenue. We're not talking about a revenue no one can achieve. It's a revenue that is achievable because our Cosmos tool, which is relying, is using imperfect foresight on the different markets. So I see there are questions in the question tab. I'll take a look at this. Thanks for your interest in any case, and maybe we can tackle the question, Christian. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So let's have a look. Some quite long ones, I have to say.
So Netherlands will come up. I think there's one. So that I mentioned. It's not missing. We haven't forgotten it. It's planned for the summer, so you'll see it soon. I think there's one question. Do you have this index for Austria? Not right now. We'll work on it. Stay tuned. we'll keep you posted. And I think there's a question also, backtesting could be a use case for the API. Do you want to address that, Chris? I'm not sure I get this.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
think the question related to if we provided the solution for backtesting or if it was just the API. Yeah, so to answer the question, we don't provide a backtesting solution. We provide the data as an input for doing your own backtesting. So we provide the read-only trade API, which I showed really via the user interface at the beginning. So the read-only trade APIs is exactly the same data that you see in the UI. So all the trading activity, all the available orders for matching in a certain area, all that type of live data is available for real-time testing. And then for historical market data, we provide the data API, which yeah, I'm sure will be the key input for your back testing. Yeah.
Maybe we have the Cosmos tool as a license if it can help, but it's not exactly the same. It's not as simple and easy to read as the benchmark we've built with the index.
Yeah. And just for clarity, because I think there was another question on the link that we talk about for the intraday API. So this API that I'm showing you is the data API. So this really is where for the delayed intraday market data. This isn't the read-only trade API, which is a separate API to this. So this is really the one that you would use for accessing historical market data and the delayed market data updates as well. And yeah, it's exactly the same API that you would use for BES as well, for accessing BES. So within that API, if you wished, you could also access the intraday market, day ahead market data to automate any process there. And we do, especially for the Nordic countries, provide the TSO fundamental market data. So do things like hydro reservoirs, production forecasts, etc. So all of this you can access under the same API.
I think there's also, Christian, a question on how the intraday market works. So trading continuously electricity before delivery. Maybe you want to comment on this?
Sorry, where's that?
I'll just put it in public so that it says, could you briefly explain how the intraday market works?
The intraday market is part of the market coupling area. So we operate as a NEMO, so it's a nominated exchange market operator in cooperation with other market operators within those European countries. They are market coupled, so that means the shared order books are available to see. So these are implicitly traded products, so you can see the capacity and the commodity bundled as a single price. So effectively, they're all linked, and then you're able to place your bids and offers against a certain particular product. So it could be typically they're 1 hour flows, 15 minutes, and some countries have 30-minute flow products as well. So you're able to trade that product from the open and close times. I'm not sure exactly the time that the product closes for trading. I think it's maybe up to 5 minutes before the product closes for flow. That goes to flow. Apologies. But that, in a nutshell, is a very, very, very high level explanation. But that's why we have a whole academy course to really explain how the market works, and really going to, because there's a lot of complexity behind that and a lot of detail in terms of the matching algorithm and that type of thing. So if you're really interested to learn how the intraday and day ahead markets work, then I would highly recommend the academy courses. It's far too complex to try and explain in 5 minutes, and we have much better people within the company than myself to really go into that detail.
I think you made it clear very simply. It's just a way to trade electricity before delivery closer than the day ahead market, so that stakeholders can balance their positions. So that's what it is at the heart, and with order books. But of course, it's a complex one.
Exactly, yeah. And on top of the continuous market, there are 3 intraday auctions as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so for Nordpool certified intraday trader courses, I will leave the link in the comments so you can find it.
Super.
There's a question on interconnection data available in real time. Christian, I don't know if you want to take it, if it was on your, it's not on the index per se, but on Nordpool, do you have any way to see the interconnection data?
Yeah, we have the hub to hub, so that's all the available capacity between different those different market areas. So that is available as a separate product within the API. So yeah, we can definitely provide that. Yeah.
Great. Well, I think we addressed most of the question. There's one regarding the Euphemia. I think the storage order for the single day ahead coupling, which is a product which is being consulted, I guess, but I don't know if you're. I think it's okay. I would need to check, but I think it's quite early for this to be live again. But I think it's a product to enable batteries to trade in a simpler manner on the wholesale markets.
Yeah. For any other questions?
Will the recording be available? Sure, I think.
Yes, the recording will be available. Yeah. Maybe a question for me.
One question.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. For Corentin, it's like, how are investors and the lenders using the best storage indexing practice? Is it primarily a benchmarking tool, or are you seeing it's increasingly used to support investment decisions, projects valuation, and the financing of storage assets?
We don't recommend using this for investment decision because it's dangerous driving, looking in the backward mirror. Now it's important to take a look at to understand what has happened, what can be the impact of a crisis like war in Ukraine, like Middle East war, to understand what impact it has on flexibility revenues. So we recommend not using it fully for investment decision. We recommend to take a look at it, understand it. It gives track record. It gives a lot of, there's a lot of things to learn from it. So that's something to assess. I'd say it's not, it doesn't give you the view. It's really looking backward in the mirror. It tells you a lot of information, but you should probably not drive only with this, simply put. But we see them essentially the way it's built, the reason it was built for is for benchmarking the performance of assets. So really for assets that are live, to check how they are aligned with the benchmark of these revenues.
Super. Just maybe a quick question for me, Corentin. Just curious, how effectively do you think asset owners, best owners, are managing their assets? For 1 hour cycle, for example, are they really taking advantage of price spikes? And
I think it's not too much of a concern for many of them when revenues are high. Meaning, and then you saw it on the index. I told you 120 is probably what you need to have for a payback in 15 years. We've seen revenues very high, like 300, 400 in the past. And when revenues are high, I think there's not so much concern whether your optimizer is 10, 20% or 5% above the index. But when revenues shrink, what we've noticed is when the economy contracts, because there's more batteries being installed, it's getting more and more important to make sure that your optimizer performs as best as possible to make sure when revenues are low, that's when you'll get difficulty in paying the equity and the debt of your project, and that's where it gets even more important to make sure you squeeze those 5-10% out of your project. So I believe the way it's done today is, it's working relatively well. Optimizers are providing some transparency, but it's key, some level of transparency, but it's key to benchmark this to ensure there's a third-party view on the level of revenues they're achieving.
Super, that's super interesting. Yeah, thanks Corentin. And thank you for the participation as well in the webinar. And thank you everyone for joining. Really appreciate it. I hope you found it useful. We will make the presentation slides available afterwards, as well as the recording of the presentation. And of course, we're available for questions afterwards. And just one final point, myself and Jackey and our colleague Adam will be at Intersolar, or calling it EM Power Europe, which is part of Intersolar in Munich next week. So we'll be delighted to meet you and talk anything in more detail as well.
Thanks for hosting the webinar, and glad to collaborate with Nordpool on this. I'll also be at Intersolar, by the way, if you want to chat. So great. I will see you.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. Look forward. Thank you very much, everyone, and hope you have a good rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.